Hello, Dr. Robin here, and today I want to talk about probiotics. Should you take probiotics? I know that's a very popular one, and a whole bunch of people are taking probiotics these days. So I want to talk a little bit about the pros and the cons of that. So first off, why would you need probiotics? Today, a lot of people use antibiotics. Antibiotics are at the root cause of so many of our GI complaints and health issues, because anytime you take antibiotics, it kills all the good and all the bad bacteria. And then once you keep taking it, you get dysbiosis, and then also you can get antibiotic resistant genes. So antibiotics I am not a fan of unless it is something life-threatening that you definitely need, in which case then after we really have to build. And so if you've had any history of antibiotic use, then it's going to be good to get a broad spectrum probiotic. Now, outside of that, some of us are like, oh, I've never used antibiotics. Well, guess what? Over 50% of antibiotics in the US are not used on human, but are used on livestock. So what that means is if you are not only eating organic grass-fed beef or organic chicken or turkey, then you are internally taking in antibiotics from the animals from taking all of those antibiotics. So we can also get decreased beneficial bacteria from the foods that we eat. That's why when we talk about foods, very important to have good quality protein. Now, which probiotics to use? There's so many of them out there. Here, I actually have loads of them. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the different types of probiotics. One thing I find a lot, some people, they take antibiotics, so they're like, I'm gonna take probiotics too, and they take them at the same time. No, they just fight each other, and so that doesn't really work, and it's just decreasing the effectiveness of your antibiotic, and the antibiotic is killing the probiotic. Sometimes people will, but you've got to space it out, like 3 to 4 hours apart with any regular probiotic. Or there is one that I found. So a company, Microbiome, came out with spore-formed probiotics. So this is one that's actually spore-formed encapsulated, which is the only one I like to use at the same time somebody is on an antibiotic. I will still space it out a little bit just for caution, but you can use it at the same time. Also, directly after coming off of antibiotics, this is the best one. Clinical research with this to help support preventing and healing leaky gut or intestinal hyperpermeability. So that's just our spore form, which is a mixture of different bacillus probiotics. Outside of that, I don't use probiotics that often on people if I have not tested their microbiome. And so after doing blood work, stool test is probably the most common test that I do. We've got the GI map test. There I can see your whole microbiome. I can see your bacteria to see if you have too much or not enough. And that's where we can look at. The most popular ones are probably our broad spectrum. When we look at broad spectrum here, we use the Therabiotic Complete, which does have 25 billion. And if we need to go a little higher strength, I like the ProbioMed that does have 50 billion in probiotics. Those are your broad spectrum, so it's nice. It gives you a little bit of everything. The other thing I caution people though, sometimes people start and they stay on it forever. I do not recommend staying on the same probiotic for longer than 3 months. It's giving you specific strains and dosage, which can throw other things off. So most people, I don't think you need to be on anything for longer than kind of that 3 months. Unless we're fixing something, we will be switching the different probiotics around what we're doing. One specific strain that I use a lot with people is Saccharomyces boulardii. We call it S. boulardii. This one has a lot of clinical research to help crowd out the bad bacteria. So this one you'll use when you've got bacterial overgrowth, and also for conditions like candida or yeast overgrowth. So it has great research with helping crowd that out. We use this in the kill phase with healing the gut. When we look at that, we have probiotics for everybody. So we do carry here, when kids get sick, we definitely want to avoid antibiotics and medications with kids. Allow their body to heal naturally. And that's one thing that probiotics is huge on for the immune system, sick, sinuses. So we've got Therabiotic Kids, and we've got Therabiotic Baby, which is kind of a powder form that you can put in baby bottles. Which definitely helps also with colic, with reflux and digestion, everything for babies. I do carry some specific strains. So for example, if I did a stool test on you, Akkermansia is our master mucus derailer. So that's one that often is low on people. So you can get very specific after testing with what your body needs. So we carry Akkermansia by itself. And then also, we always just think about probiotics, but you forget about the world of prebiotics. So prebiotics are the food for the bacteria. So oftentimes we'll switch over. This is one we have called Therabiotic Symbiotica. So it has both your pro and your prebiotics combined together. Outside of that, we do carry some that are just prebiotics. We can get in that to another video, but that's going to help with feeding your good bacteria. And that is probiotics.